Hi, fifth graders. Welcome to today's grammar lesson. You're probably wondering why you're seeing me as opposed to Mrs. Vaughn, but I am going to be teaching today's grammar lesson on figurative language. So at this point, you have worked with figurative language in your narrative writing, so you should be familiar with it. Figurative language, there are different types, but today we're going to be talking about idioms. And we'll learn what those are in just a second. And you have had some experience with these earlier in the year, I was told by Mrs. Vaughn, but today we're going to practice them a little bit more because it's always fun to practice with idioms. I really like them personally, so I think you're going to like them as well. So here are some examples of some figurative language. Walking on eggshells, busy as a bee, it's written all over your face, you crack me up. These are phrases that you've probably heard many times before in your life, and you may know the meaning of those phrases. So I want you to think about what you're noticing about those phrases. What do they mean? What is being said? And do they match? Okay. So what is figurative language? Well, figurative language is when you use a word or a phrase that does not have its normal, everyday, literal meaning. So for example, if we look back at busy as a bee, well, are we literally as busy as a bee? Are bees necessarily that busy, or is that just a phrase that we use? You crack me up. We say that when something is funny, but are we really cracking up, or is that just a phrase that we use to describe how funny something is? So we use figurative language to make our writing more interesting and more dramatic than just simple language. So a lot of times authors will use figurative language to keep their reader engaged and to make their story more exciting. There are a few different ways to use figurative language, but as I said, we're going to be focusing on idioms for today. So an idiom is a common phrase or expression that doesn't mean exactly what the words are saying. There's a hidden meaning to it. For example, here are some sentences that use idioms. After debating for hours, I was so relieved that we were finally on the same page. Take a look at my little clip art down here. So when we say that phrase, what we're saying is that you're in agreement. But the words are saying that you're on the same page. Are you necessarily on the same page? No, we don't have two people standing on the same piece of paper, but it's just a phrase that we use to express an agreement. It's raining cats and dogs outside. Is it really? No, but we know that that means that it's raining heavily or a lot. Winning that soccer tournament was a piece of cake. This is one that we use a lot. It means that something is easy, but really what we're saying is a piece of cake. Was it really? No. My brother was so cranky today. Clearly he woke up on the wrong side of the bed. I'm sure your parents have said this to you before. Did you wake up on the wrong side of the bed when you're cranky and in a bad mood? That's just a common phrase that we use as well to mean that somebody woke up in a bad mood. So today we're going to be reading a book called More Parts by Ted Arnold. And throughout the reading, I'm going to be pausing and you'll see some questions that pop up. This book is written using a majority of idioms. So the author is really keeping the reader engaged with these idioms and making it humorous at the same time. I want you to also focus on the illustrations that are shown and see how they match those idioms as well. Okay, so be focusing on those illustrations and on the meaning of these idioms as I read. Things are bad and getting worse. Each day it's something new. With all the stuff I hear about, I don't know what to do. One day I tripped on my red truck and it just fell apart. But when I told my mom, she said, "I'll bet that broke your heart." I guess that's possible, who knows? I don't think Mom would lie. I'd better play more carefully. This pillow's worth a try. Take a look at his heart. People say all kinds of things that I don't understand, like when my dad asked me if I would please give him a hand. I didn't know my hands come off, and I don't want them to, so I'll make sure that they stay on with gloves and lots of glue. Look at what he's doing to himself over here. He's got his pillow attached and his hands are glued on. Our next door neighbor had a joke he wanted us to hear. He said, "It's sure to crack you up." I ran away in fear. wants to hear a joke like that? Not my idea of fun. I gotta keep my head together. It's my only one. My teacher has me worried too. This happened yesterday. She said to stretch our arms and legs before we go and play. I'm sure she thinks it's good for us, but that's just too bizarre. My arms and legs are long enough. I like the way they are. I know I've got a lot to learn. I'm little and I'm young, but what did Grandma really mean when she said, "Hold your tongue"? My tongue's a slimy, jiggly, squishy, slippery little squirt. It'd be my luck to squeeze too hard and lose it in the dirt. Look at his tongue. He's trying to keep it tied on here. So I decided that it's best to stay here in my room, 'cause who knows when some little thing just might lead to my doom. Notice he's reading his book. Then Mom and Dad came in and asked me, "Why are you upset?" I told them all the things I've heard that got me in a sweat. Like coach who says before each game is ready to begin, he gets so nervous that he nearly jumps out of his skin. Or what a friend said recently, "It gave me such a fright." He claimed his baby sister screams her lungs out every night. My skin could slip, my head may crack, and I might break my heart. I could lose my lungs, my hands, who knows when it might start. What if quite by accident, my body flies apart? Mom and Dad just smiled and looked relieved that I'm okay. And Mom explained to me about the things that people say. And though Dad laughed, I know he didn't mean to be unkind when he said, "For a minute, son, we thought you'd lost your mind." So I want you to think about, how did the author use figurative language and idioms in this book? How did the use of figurative language impact the story? So as we're reading the story, think about, how did it make you feel? What did it make you think? How did it keep you engaged? Did it keep you interested? Did it make you laugh? What did this figurative language bring to the story? Now, obviously, this story was made up of mostly figurative language and a lot of idioms. Typically, when reading a story or a paper, there is less figurative language. It's sort of sprinkled in there, but it still has that impact. And I want you to think about what impact figurative language has on a story when you're reading it, and why you think that it is important to include as you're writing. Okay, so that is it for today. Thank you for joining our Nearpod lesson. I hope you enjoyed it. Go ahead and click to the next slide, and you will be doing a matching game as well. Let us know if you have any questions.